I've mixed emotions on this, Sean. I can't take too much from that Roosters win because Souths are so low on troops. They've struggled so much this back half of the year. Is this the game the Roosters needed to tune up a bit with some of these new players, or is this a false economy heading into the finals next week?
Well, I think the big part of what you just said then is probably the main part for me, and it's the opposition. So the Bunnies obviously going no good. Their season was over. I know the two clubs have obviously got the biggest rivalry in the NRL, but at this stage of the year, when one's completely checked out, and the Roosters, I mean, they still had a bit to play for, obviously. They're still playing for a home final, potentially, which they're currently sitting in, waiting on the Panthers to come. But, I mean, I think probably the most, not concerning part, but their issue this year has not been scoring points. It's been on the other side of the ball. And they were able to score points. I think we can ignore last week with when you lose your halfback mid-game, it's going to be very hard to flick the switch and find a lot of points. They couldn't do that, but they got back to that last night. Teddy was amazing. He really stepped up. But then the two late tries from the Bunnies. Now, is it just a case of the Roosters sort of put the cue in the rack knowing the game was over? Or is there more
even
to
so,
it?
even like, why are you putting the queue in the rack heading into finals? Is that best practice, putting the queue in the rack? Or, you know, when it comes to crunch time, do you revert back to old habits and hypothetically put the queue in the rack in a big game?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think ideally you obviously don't want to be leaking those points late, but I got the sense, was there a couple of players that might have got rested?
Dom Young and Daniel Tupu. Oh,
so they
late
both
in the
sat
game,
out, but in the game, I think they might have.
Yeah, good question. They probably pulled a few off. I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna say Roosters loss out.
Wow, straight sets. See you later.
Where do you have them placed in the final? So they're probably going to play Panthers.
So they get Panthers week 1. That's going to be at Penrith.
At Penrith.
So they're going to be outsiders there.
Tall task.
I think, all things considered, we probably give Panthers a win there. Although, we need to probably get an update on where Nathan Cleary's at. Because when he first got injured, I think all the chat was, okay, no, he's going to be back for week 1. But that becomes a massive decision because you've got the option, and this is where finishing top 4 becomes so important, right? You can roll the dice, not play him, and then win the game, and he's got 2 weeks extra to recover, sit in the ice bath, do his rehab.
Yeah.
Or potentially, and this is an idea raised by the great Joel Kane throughout the week, do you name him in jersey 17, let him sit there, and only inject him into the game
they need him.
if needed? Or is that too risky?
Like that. No, I don't think so.
I don't mind it either.
I don't think so. Or, and Penrith can do this, do you name Cleary and just go pedal to the metal for 40 minutes, a la Parramatta Grand Final, blow Roosters out by half-time, and then bring him off? Is there a potential for that as well? I don't know. It's risky. Brooksy, where have you got the Roosters? You thinking loss on my train of thought, or they still a force to be reckoned with?
There's still a chance in week 2. It just depends, like, what scenario comes their way. I think they're a good side. They sort of showed it early in that match early in the second half when they just rolled the Rabbitohs. I think it was like 3 tries in about 8-9 minutes.
Yeah.
And they look impressive when everything's humming. Smith and Watson look good, replacing the guys. I think they'll benefit from that run.
Yeah.
Penrith's going to be a tough ask, but yeah, they're banged up. Edwards is banged up. Cleary, if he plays, he's obviously coming off that injury. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the Roosters will lose that week 1 match.
This could be a decider. Angus Crichton is on report for that forearm to the head with ball in hand.
Yeah.
We saw a
bumper.
I'm not going to say similar. We saw a comparable example with Latrell Mitchell earlier in the season on Sean Johnson. Probably Latrell's was a bit more blatant.
Yep.
But he copped a couple of weeks for that.
I think Gus is safe, isn't he?
He's safe?
I think so.
Brooksy, safe?
Yeah, I think so. It could be a fine.
Fine?
Yeah, it
Fine
didn't look
feels
too bad. It was worth a penalty. It was worth a report. But yeah, I think he'll be playing.
It's one of those ones. I think it was on Tallis Duncan, wasn't it? If he goes over with a busted lip or a broken schnoz or something, then it's maybe a different story. But he was good to
They'd
play
be
on.
sweating.
Might just save him.
They'd be sweating. Massive debut last night. Wallabies winger Mark Nwonga Nisawase. Big debut. Looked good. Scored a try. Maybe a little questionable in defence? A little bit of that rugby defence?
Oh, whack straight away. Well, the first, I think it was the Jai Gray's try. He slipped over in his defence. He looked like he had that sort of edge covered there, but he slipped over.
You don't have 15 players in the defensive line.
Exactly, yeah. Is it the most practiced surname in commentary history? Like
it's got to be.
Every commentator in Australia was in front of the mirror throughout the whole week. Wonga.
Yeah. Look, upon seeing that last night, I reckon Daniel Tupu's playing some reserve grade next year.
Oh.
I reckn Marky Mark he looked the goods.
You're on the back fence this morning.
Yeah, well, I just saw. I was watching ball in hand. You're laughing, Brooksy.
How are you going to be able to get home today, Missile? Living right in the middle of Roosters territory.
Marky Mark give me a lift because I've just given him a short ball straight into first grade for the entire season. I thought he looked awesome.
Yeah,
super elusive. Amazing under the high ball, and that's probably the one thing Daniel Tupu's got over most other wingers is his ability under the high ball. Marky Mark,
the way he went up for that
star.
Yeah, the way he went up for that first try, which I think was his second touch of the footy, and I think we're not. Are we underestimating what he's done? Like the year he's had this year to play for the Wallabies, go to an Olympics, and then make your NRL debut in
survive
the space
the cardboard
of 6
beds.
Months. Yeah, he survived the cardboard.
Was he a single man in Paris?
I don't know. You were there, Missile. You didn't see him around?
They crashed out really early.
They did, yeah.
Yeah. The Roosters, they always do stuff like this. We just want to bring him back into the squad so that he can get some play some New South Wales Cup, get some experience. Boom, first grade scoring tries.
Yeah, I think Robbo might have deliberately told the sort of outward public / media that he's no chance of playing first grade this year, removed all the pressure. There wasn't really an article or anything written about the whole rugby convert coming, and then all of a sudden just found a way to sneak him in there. Brooksy.
I was just going to say, off the back of your 12 months, Shawnee, like Waratahs, Wallabies, Sevens, and then Roosters, he doubled his win total last night over that 12-month period.
Did they go no wins at the World Cup? At the Olympics? I think they may.
No, they got
a couple.
The one thing about his game last night, though, we probably didn't see those real. I mean, we saw it a couple of times. Those real tough carries that the NRL wingers have to do these days. Yep. He did a couple of runs, but when you look at the real top echelon of wingers these days, they're doing that 10, 15 times a game and making big meters off the back of it. That's probably the one. Not question mark, but the one thing that you got to see from him week in, week out.
His ability under the high ball, his footwork, his elusiveness, just the way he moved, and probably his physique. I was looking at him going, he's probably a fullback in the NRL. I think maybe long term. I mean, Teddy's not that old, but let's say 2 years down the track.
Yep.
And Nawanga Nitawase at fullback would be pretty good. Let's have a listen to some of his highlights from his debut.
It's time for your weekly Winger Appreciation Assembly. Thanks to Winghouse, the best seats and beers, always guaranteed.
Linu out the back, May passing it on. Crossfield kick here from Keary. Oh my goodness! Well, hello, Mark Nawanga-Nitawase. Get used to the name. Has anyone scored a debut try quite like that?
So there he is. Our winger appreciation. Thanks to Winghouse, the best seats and beers, always guaranteed. Mark Nawanga-Nitawase, great try. Let's have a listen to what Trent Robinson had to say about his debut.
Nice second touch. It was. I was just saying, I don't think it looks. I think everyone's sort of looking, going, let's see if he can adapt to the game and what traits is he going to have and is he going to get lost, all that type of thing. And he doesn't look out of place at all. It looks very comfortable on a lot of the decision-making plays as well around the things that we do a little bit differently. He looks comfortable, and he's, that's his fourth game of rugby league since he was 15. It's a pretty good job, and that means he's a quality player, and he'll continue to get better.
There we go, the great man, Robbo. Seemed pretty happy with the performance
Very
overall.
happy.
It was the try is obviously the highlight for Marky Mark in the game, but the little tap where he tapped it to himself mid-air, collected it, and then offloaded pretty much all in one passage looked very, very good.
Text here, boys, from Rooster Man. Teddy looked awesome. Boys, it feels like it's Teddy and Jerome Hughes for this Dally M.
It's got to be Jerome.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I'll be pissed if it's not Jerome.
I mean, he has been the best player in the comp this year.
Dominated every game. His side wins the minor premiership by
2 games.
2 or 3 games.
Yeah. Well, 2 weeks early anyway. Yep.
Has to be. 3.
I think so.
They'll win by 3.
Yeah.
Has to be.
He's been, and now this is the thing with the award. It doesn't always pan out like
Yeah,
that. But
I
he's
know.
been so far and away the best player in the comp. I think. Now there's been some quality performances for the whole year, but I think you'd need a pretty strong case to argue me out of tipping him to win it.
Teddy did look great last night. Rooster Man's correct, and it's again, we saw it a couple of years ago when the Roosters had a heap of injuries. Teddy basically stood up and was almost the go-to playmaker for the year, and he's done it again leading into this final series. A couple of texts. I just wanted to get through these. So Peter Bowl, that's a good call.
Peter Bowl, yeah.
Peter Bowl.
Forgot about Bolly.
He's sub 40. And there was another one somewhere. Someone said, my son's name's Peter. We've got a bunch of texts coming
There he
through.
is.
Stab from Cronulla. My son is 28. His name is Peter, named after his grandfather. Alrighty, so Peter's still alive for now. Hey, if you got one under 20, send us a text. Peter's alive for now. All right, we'll go through the Rabbitohs defeat of the Roosters defeat of the Rabbitohs a little bit more after the break here on the Mowers Club with Sean Omerod and James Magnuson. Welcome back to the Mowers Club. You're Shawnee Omerod and Missile this morning. Just wrapping up the Roosters, Shawnee. So they'll get back a number of troops next week. Nat Butcher should be back.
Yep.
They'll get back. Jared Hargraves will have to wait till second week of the finals.
Yes.
He's got one more week to serve on his suspension. They'll get back both wingers, of course, Dom Young and Daniel Tupu. If the Panthers beat the Titans, which they're expected to do, then the Roosters will head out to Penrith for that game. However, if the Titans do beat the Panthers, the Roosters will host the Panthers at Allianz. So that's a big match, Panthers-Titans this weekend, because you do not want to play in Penrith week 1 of the finals.
No. And like conversely, for the Panthers, they don't want to go to Allianz and take on the Chooks either. So it's a huge game. I mean, it really would shock me if the Titans are to go there. And I mean, it's the hardest place in footy to go and win a game.
Oh, yeah.
And
Disaster.
that's when you're going well, let alone the Titans, who have obviously checked out. So, look, I think the Panthers are winning that, and then sets up either way, wherever it is, it's going to be a massive game, week 1 of the finals.
Love it. Just on the Rabbitohs, so a few players being farewelled last night. Damien Cook, of course, is heading to St George. He's heading down to Wollongong. And Thomas Burgess, last game for South Sydney. That's the end of the Burgess era, which was such a successful one for the Rabbitohs. All 4 Burgess players playing. Here's some audio of Thomas Burgess.
Yeah, had a bit of chat through the week, and I think we worked out, the brothers have played over 650 games for South combined, and I think this might be close to 1,000 games tonight for the brothers combined in a top flight rugby league. So it's pretty amazing, like to say we just four boys from Dewsbury who just brought up playing rugby league, and obviously I want to shout out to my dad. I think we all talk about his legacy and what he gave to us, and we always wanted his legacy to live strong, and definitely has lived strong. And he sort of encouraged us all to come out to Australia at some point. He loved it out here, so I want to shout out to my dad, Mark Burgess.
Yeah, there he is, Thomas Burgess. Great career, underrated career,
Huge.
Thomas Burgess. Both the twins. I think it was George, correct me if I'm wrong, George that scored that crazy try against the Bulldogs in the 2014
he
grand
was
final.
enormous in that grand final as well. Arguably best player on the field. Of course, Sam got the church
Destructive.
after he busted his face with that first.
Will we ever see 4 bigger brothers playing the NRL?
I doubt it. I doubt it.
When he was thanking his dad there, I know that their dad passed away. I've not seen any pictures of him. He must be a man mountain.
You would think
to
he's
have produced those 4.
Yeah, he'd have to be. And what the best part, so Thomas scored a try last night, but the best part, he got the farewell conversion.
And a good conversion.
It was, yeah. Didn't
No
he just,
topo.
He nailed
Actually,
it
2 of
straight
those
over.
last night. Campbell Gillard as well.
Gillard got one.
Really good-looking kick.
Yeah.
Just on the end of the Burgess era, as he said, just 4 lads from England come out to play in Australia and are so dominant. He is, and this one snuck under the radar, the second highest capped South Sydney player of all time.
Yeah, I heard that last time
Only
as well.
behind John Sutton. So John Sutton's played 336 games. Tom Burgess last night goes to 249 games, one short of 250.
Incredible.
The club with a history as long as South Sydney. I'm so surprised that their second highest cap player is only 249 games.
Yeah, little hiatus there for a few years for the Bunnies in that period, but enormous career. So good, and the way he steamed onto that ball to score his try. A little bit annoyed I didn't find him anytime try scorer. It was so obvious.
There's a couple of storylines. I mean, Joel Kane was banging on all afternoon about Clint Gutherson scoring.
Yeah,
and I ignored that.
And so Sugar declared it was Gutho's birthday yesterday. I think he might have went early there. I think Gutho's birthday's on Monday. But in any case, birthday weekend, and he had to fill up back-to-back doubles, I think, for Gutho. Did he score 2 last night? I think he did.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
I wonder, they'll be starting their Mad Monday straight away, won't they?
Well, judging by the scenes in the shed straight after the game, Gutho was there, budgies, banging the esky, had a can in hand. It looked like they were ready to rock and roll.
Wholesome stuff.
Yep.
All right, you're listening to the Mowers Club. Thanks to Winghouse. Plenty more to come, including a review on the Broncos season with Pete Bedell. We'll preview your Saturday games and a bit of Bulldogs talk to come from 2 Bulldogs fans. Plenty of good texts coming through there. Alrighty, so the other game last night, the Eels 60 defeat the West Tigers 26. This was the most Spoonbowl game ever. They could have put Benny Hill music to this at times. Drop balls, intercepts, try into kickoff out on the full.
Lost challenges.
Missed challenges off front rowers and wingers.
Oh, wow.
Say no more.
I think that they were both challenges were gone within the I want to say like 13 or 14 minutes.
Yep.
And probably 2 of the top 5 worst challenges of the year so far. So it ticked that. I just love something very, very romantic just around the time slot that it found itself in as well. Friday, 6 p.m. It's the time slot where rugby league matches sort of go to die week to week throughout the year. And here we have 2 teams fighting it out for the Spoonbowl. And it looked like, I actually was texting a couple of mates before, and I said, if this turns out to be like an 18-16 game, it's a complete indictment on both these sides. Surely we see, some razzle-dazzle. And they were trying to early, but they just didn't have the execution to pull it off.
A lot of points went missing in this game.
So many.
And it still ended up 60-26. What would be a record, Brooksy, most points scored in a game? Mid-game, I was one of my mates is a Tigers fan, and he came
90s.
over.
Did we get 9?
No, there was a Canberra one. I think it was like a...
Well, last week you had 80
32 or something.
Have we turned up? I'm not sure if we've
turned up. No, we haven't turned up, Brooksy. Don't be ridiculous.
I felt like it.
Well, last week we had 84 points in the 44-40 game against St George. This week we've got 86. Parramatta involved in both games. Love attack. Hate defence.
Not big fans of defence.
Not big fans of defence. Sold out crowd, over 17,000 out at Campbelltown. Apparently traffic was a nightmare on the M5 getting out there. The West Tigers, their 3rd straight wooden spoon. You couldn't help but feel for them a little bit. Brooksy's cheering in the production room.
102 points were scored in 2006 between the Knights and the Raiders, 70-32.
Oh, you even got the score correct, Brooksy. Well done. That's double points. Just quickly last night, 27 offloads in that game. 17 from Parramatta, which has been their style all year. Again, defence not their forte. But the West Tigers missile, 3 spoons in a row. Arguably just as hard to do as winning 3 comps in a row. So
in the day and age of the salary cap, it is impressive to go 3 back-to-back spoons. Brooksy.
Got a couple for you, boys. So first one, should the Tigers, you know how the football teams, when they win like Europe or their Premier League, their first division, they put the stars above the logo. Should they have the 3 spoons on the jersey next year?
I don't mind that.
And secondly, which is the better 3-peat? Jordan and the Bulls, the Clearys at Penrith, or the West Tigers?
Could be a doco out of this.
Yeah. But we had 3 people consistently there for all 3 Tigers spoons. Like you would have gone a Brooks, or you would have gone a Pascoe Hadjipintalis, or you could have gone a Madge Maguire. It's kind of changed too much for it to be iconic, right?
How do you reckon Brooksy feels about them winning another spoon? Do you reckon he was sitting
after
back
his
home?
reception at Leichhardt? quite happy.
Pretty happy with that, I would have thought.
Pretty happy, I reckon.
What about the pressure that's on them now, though, going into next year? And in the post game on Fox League last night, James Graham sort of told it really how it is in his mind. He's like, how are they not favourites for the Wooden Spoon next year? Like looking at squads right now, it's hard to mount a case that they won't be tipped at least.
They need a couple more, I would say, but they've also been the most active in the player market.
Yeah.
So Luai, Taruva, Royce Hunt, Skelton, now Jack Bird. I think that's the first mistake they've made. Jack Bird on $400K a year, I think, is overs. And rumours that Corey Horsburgh is close.
I think that's done.
Done?
I think it might be done, yeah. Which I don't mind.
Decent.
Yeah.
Decent. They lose IPAP, Isaiah Papali'i.
Yep.
They lose John Bateman.
Utukumanu's gone as well.
Utoikamanu. They're almost losing as good as they're getting. Although Papali'i and Bateman have been pretty ordinary. I thought Utoikamanu last night as well. I haven't seen enough to justify the price tag.
Yeah, but you know exactly what's going to happen.
I know.
It's
a tale as old as time, isn't it?
The whole world knows exactly what's going to happen.
A la Sean Bloor. The exact same scenario.
Yeah.
From the Tigers. All right, let's have a listen to Trent Barrett talk about the Eels' performance. Let's go to some positives first.
Yeah, it was good. To score 60 points when it mattered was really good, and it was always going to be hard coming here. We knew that. It's a difficult place to play, and they've got some good young players in there, the Tigers. So, but I'm just really proud of the players, and in particular, the senior players and the captain. So they've held them all together through some pretty tough months, really, with what we've been dealt and who we're missing. So they didn't deserve to finish last. So
I agree. They didn't. I don't think they deserve the spoon. Just the fight they've put up against some of those top teams. Remember the way they lost to Penrith? That was a really good example. Last week they derailed St George's season. Like they've had enough fight in them.
Their last 6 weeks, I went through their draw going to that game last night. Their last 6 weeks, they've played the other end of the table almost exclusively. And some of the scorelines, particularly they played the Melbourne Storm, and it was almost the start of, it sounds weird saying they went on a bit of a run, but it was a bit of a change of form. I think they got beat by 18 points in that game, but we're so good against the Storm. Storm got a couple of lucky tries, and again, defence has been Parramatta's issue. But you look at their form line going into it, it probably looks a little bit more obvious now that we see the scoreline. But their attack far too strong for the West Tigers.
We got hoodwinked by the West Tigers.
And again, another sin bin.
Another sin bin. That's really what derailed them. To be honest, that the Tigers were in it up to their eyeballs until that sin bin, and then.
I did quite enjoy Appy's little apology. Did you see his apology to the boys when he was sort of trotting off and he ducked his head, put his hand up and he said, sorry, boys.
My bad. That's 3.
They played 2 full games with someone in the sin bin over the course of the regular season. Wow. 16 sin bins, gents.
That's insane.
Yeah, don't help themselves, do they?
That's insane. Sour point for the Eels. Dylan Brown has a suspected ACL tear. Here's what Trent Barrett had to say about Dylan Brown's injury.
Yeah, we don't know. Obviously, they're a bit concerned.
That would be a disaster for Jason Riles coming in.
So what does that mean? He's going to, what's an ACL? It's
9 months.
9
months. So sort of say
July?
10 to 15 rounds into next year.
Yeah, that's massive.
Same as the Roosters. They're going to have Brendan Smith and Sam Walker out for that first sort of 10 to 15 rounds.
That's true. So to lose, arguably, I mean, I know they're going to get Mitchell Moses back, but he's so important to their attack. Dylan Brown, in the last game of the year, season's over, to do such an injury, that is heartbreak. I think Dunny on the text line, he might have just won the award for best text of the morning. Not a Jack Bird fan, it seems. I'd rather Ray Gun than Jack Bird, says Dunny.
Unbelievable,
really
Dunny. Unbelievable. That is the greatest slight you can put on anyone. Just on, you mentioned Mitch Moses there. Funny moment last night. I'm watching the game last night. As I said, Tigers fan, his partner and my partner. And Trent Barrett came up in the coach's box, and Mitch Moses was kind of behind him in the coach's box. And Rose goes, "Oh, he's so good looking." And the other girl that was there with us goes, "Yeah, I'm a big Mitch Moses fan." She turns around and goes, "What? Not Mitch Moses, Trent Barrett." She goes, "Oh, no, I prefer Mitch Moses." So quick vote around the office. Brooksy, Mitch Moses, Trent Barrett.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's
I'm
not
an old
close, is it?
Steelers fan.
Yeah, there's no
Mitch
point.
Moses. No, it's Barrett.
There's no point in asking Brooksy. You know what? I'm Team T-Baz.
Yeah, I'm Team Baz as well. It's not
Yeah.
even close.
Yeah.
It's not
I'm going to miss his press conferences as well in the hot seat. There's something so enjoyable about listening to his press
Is he confirmed off to the Broncos, Brooksy?
Not yet. Not official.
Well,
I think they're
look,
waiting for.
I reckon we'll get some confirmation a little bit later in the show. Say about 11 o'clock when a certain Pete Bedell comes on, because he gave me some goss over there well before any news of it. He said Barrett will be in Brisbane.
Sneaky Pete.
Sneaky
Pure
Pete,
oil.
yeah.
Really good text from Kiwi Joe here, just on Dylan Brown injury. Bad for the Kiwis. So we've got the test coming up.
Do we see a Sean Johnson swan song then? Do they go
Surely
Johnson
not.
Hughes? Do they go Hughes Foreign?
Foreign swan song.
Foreign. Wow. I think SJ's
Done.
boots up, isn't it? Yeah, he's enjoying himself.
Just live off that last pass.
I think so.
Yeah. On the West Tigers, third straight spoon, third match conceding 50 points or more. Coruscant, 16 players, Tigers play to get sin bin. They have turned over a lot of players this year, 11 debutants throughout the season. So it's not nothing. I think the bright point in the year was Samuel Afinu.
Yeah.
I think he was unbelievable. And
Galvin to partner Luai next year.
Yeah, you're right.
That's a bit.
Galvin, yeah.
That would be mouth watering if you're a West Tigers fan, I'd say. What about that? Was it the West Tigers' first try or second try last night? That cut out down that left.
Second try
down
from
that
Galvin.
left edge.
Yeah. So good. Well, why don't we just put a line in the sand now and say if the West Tigers win a fourth spoon in a row next year, we kick them out of the comp.
Yeah, if they
you
keep
happy to
winning
say it now?
spoons until expansion, we might have to bring two teams in.
Just kick them out of the
They're
comp.
not winning the spoon next year, are they?
Oh, surely not. Surely not. I know Tigers fans that they're so loyal.
Mm.
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think they have as big a supporter base as say. So we support the Bulldogs, Sean, and all of a sudden now the Bulldogs are doing well, and we're getting 35,000 at 6 p.m. on a Friday.
Mm.
Great fans, but a lot of those fans have been missing the past 10 years. Like we haven't been getting 35,000 at 6 p.m.
That's true.
on a Friday. Tigers sell out Campbelltown, 17,000, 6 p.m. Now, I'm saying that they potentially don't have as big a supporter base as a Bulldogs or a Parramatta or some of those clubs that cover potentially a bigger catchment or, older clubs steeped in history. But these Tigers fans, they're selling out Leichhardt every year. They're selling out Campbelltown now. I just feel sorry for them.
They are. They're so loyal, Brooksy.
They'll get a massive bandwagon following if they do a Bulldogs next year. Like, it'll be massive. Like, people will just jump on.
Yeah.
Like, you think about, like, everyone Aussies sort of jump off the big teams, the big stars.
Yeah.
And when you see someone like the West Tigers come along, they've had 3 spoons and they just rise through the ladder next
true.
year, they'll get big crowds. They
one's-
might have to move some games to a call.
Yeah, no one's death riding them, are they?
No.
They're just-
How long do you get as a bandwagon side? So, for example, I remember the first year that the Penrith started doing well, I was into that final series. I was right behind the Panthers.
yeah.
Now I kind of death ride the Panthers a bit. Last year I got on the Waz bandwagon.
I think once you've won a comp, that's it.
Just one comp.
I think you can't. No, you're done then.
Okay, so we'll give Tigers one season of success, then we'll death ride them again. But if they get 4 spoons in a row, we're kicking them out of the comp.